Welcome to Zeitgeist. I'm Zuri, that's Alistair, and we have a major update on a story we covered a few days ago.
This one's moving fast. Let's get into it.
So, a few days ago, we talked about the massive protests in Iran, tens of thousands dead, the regime on the brink, but now this has escalated into something bigger. We're now talking about a potential US military strike.
Wait, what happened? Last we heard, Trump was threatening action but holding back.
Right. So back in mid-January, Trump considered strikes in response to Iran's brutal crackdown on protesters, but he pulled back after claiming Iranian officials assured him the killing had stopped. Well, that pause is over.
What changed?
Nuclear talks collapsed. There had been preliminary discussions between Washington and Tehran over Iran's nuclear program and its ballistic missiles. Those talks showed no progress. Diplomatic contact between senior officials has been suspended. The back channel between Iran's foreign minister and the US special envoy is reportedly cut off.
So, no communication at all now?
Pretty much. And that's when Trump made an announcement that got a lot of attention. Quote, "A massive armada is on the way." The USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group is now in the Middle East, positioned in the Indian Ocean.
What exactly is in this armada?
The USS Abraham Lincoln, that's a nuclear-powered supercarrier, plus 3 guided missile destroyers. The carrier is loaded with F-35C jets, FA-18 Super Hornets, EA-18G Growlers for electronic warfare, and MH-60 helicopters. This is a serious strike force.
And what did Trump actually say he's prepared to do?
He said the military is looking at very strong options. And he made a very specific threat. Quote, "The next attack will be far worse than the previous June strikes." He's referring to Operation Midnight Hammer.
Remind me what that was. Operation Midnight Hammer?
Last June, the US launched a coordinated strike against 3 Iranian nuclear facilities, Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan, 7 B-2 stealth bombers, over 24 Tomahawk cruise missiles, more than 125 aircraft total. They dropped bunker-buster bombs that had never been used in combat before. The operation lasted about 25 minutes. Iran was caught completely off guard. They didn't get a single aircraft in the sky.
And now Trump is saying the next one would be worse than that?
That's exactly what he said. He warned that the force heading toward Iran is, quote, "ready, willing, and able to rapidly fulfill its mission with speed and violence if necessary." He said time is running out for a nuclear deal.
How is Iran responding to all this?
Defiance. Iran's foreign minister Abbas Araghchi said their armed forces are ready, quote, "with their fingers on the trigger to respond immediately and powerfully to any attack." Their defense minister warned the country has many surprises for attackers.
What kind of surprises? Are they actually capable of hitting back?
Iran claims they have advanced anti-ship ballistic missiles, including something called the Fatah-1, supposedly capable of Mach 13 speeds. They've explicitly threatened to sink the Abraham Lincoln. Now, military analysts say actually sinking a supercarrier would be extraordinarily difficult. You'd need multiple heavy hits and a flawless kill chain. But that doesn't mean Iran can't cause real damage.
And what about threats beyond the carrier?
This is where it gets really dangerous. Iran's parliament speaker warned that if the US attacks, both Israel and American military bases across the region become legitimate targets. A top advisor to Supreme Leader Khamenei specifically said they would target Israel. Iran still has ballistic missiles. They still have proxy networks, even if weakened. We could be looking at a regional war.
So what's actually stopping this from happening? Why hasn't Trump pulled the trigger?
The same problem we talked about before, the targets Trump would want to hit, Revolutionary Guard command centers, Basij headquarters, the forces actually doing the killing during the protests. They're all embedded in populated civilian areas. You bomb those, you kill regular Iranians. The same people who were protesting against the regime.
So a strike could actually rally Iranians to support their government?
Exactly. That's the administration's nightmare scenario. Right now, the narrative in Iran is our government is killing us. An American strike could flip that to we're under foreign attack. The regime would love that. It gives them a propaganda win and a reason to crack down even harder while blaming the US.
But Trump has also been adding other pressure, right? Not just military?
Yes. He announced 25% tariffs on any country that does business with Iran. He's sanctioned top Iranian officials responsible for the crackdown. He's trying to squeeze them economically while keeping the military option visible. The question is whether that's enough to bring Iran back to the table.
And Iran's position is, what exactly? Are they willing to negotiate?
Iran's parliament speaker said Tehran is willing to negotiate, but only if talks are genuine. They're calling the carrier deployment a deliberate provocation. So there's a gap here. The US says negotiate or face strikes. Iran says we'll negotiate, but stop threatening us. Neither side is backing down.
What happens if this actually goes kinetic? Like, what would that look like?
If Trump orders strikes, we're probably talking about something targeting Iran's nuclear program again, maybe facilities that have been rebuilt since June, or, depending on how aggressive the posture is, command and control infrastructure, missile sites, maybe air defenses. Iran retaliates. Potentially against Israel, against US bases in Iraq, in the Gulf. Oil prices spike. Global markets panic. And then everyone has to decide, is this a one-time exchange, or does it escalate further?
You mentioned the protests are still happening. Does any of this help the protesters, or does it hurt them?
That's the million-dollar question. On one hand, the protests put the regime under pressure. They weakened its legitimacy. But a US strike could erase all of that. Suddenly, the protesters become potential collaborators with a foreign enemy. The regime gets to crack down in the name of national defense. Some analysts argue the best thing the US can do for the protesters is not bomb.
So, we're in this weird spot where military action could actually help the regime.
It's counterintuitive, but yes. The regime is weaker than it's been in 45 years. The economy is collapsing. The people are in the streets. An external attack could be exactly what Khamenei needs to rally support. That's the risk Trump is weighing.
So, what should people be watching for?
A few things. First, any movement from that carrier strike group. If it enters the Persian Gulf, that's a signal. Second, whether diplomatic channels reopen at all. Third, what Iran does next. If they test a missile, make a provocative move, that could change the calculus. And fourth, whether Trump gives Iran a public deadline. He keeps saying, time is running out. If he puts a date on it, things get very real, very fast.
This feels like one of those situations where everything could change overnight.
It really is. We're in the most dangerous standoff between the US and Iran since those June strikes, maybe the most dangerous since the Islamic Republic was founded. What happens in the next few weeks could reshape the entire Middle East.
We'll keep watching this one. If something breaks, you'll hear it here. Hit subscribe so you don't miss it.
Thanks for watching. This is Zeitgeist.